Hi, this is Mark Sokolow. I've been an attorney for over 30 years, and presently I'm teaching business law at San Jacinto College. Previously, I taught at Lamar University and at Lamar State College, where I taught political science. Today, we're going to look at federal agencies, and specifically the BSEE. That's the agency that enforces regulations as pertains to drilling out there in the Gulf and offshore. We're going to look at the Administrative Procedures Act as well as some new BSEE regulations. These are videos that are designed for my business law students. Please enjoy it. Thank you. Hi, this is Mark Sokolow again, and we're looking at federal agencies. One of the laws that pertain to how federal agencies should operate is the Administrative Procedure Act, 5 United States Code, Subchapter 2. Here's a page out of the National Archives. And basically it goes over the type of rules and opinions that agencies should be enacting, and that they need to be open meetings and allow for comment. Here's the provision providing that the meetings need to be open. Now there are exceptions, for instance involving trade secrets and things of that sort, where they can have a closed meeting, but for the most part their meetings are open to the public. They need to have posted agendas at least 1 week before the meeting of the time, place, and subject matter of the meeting. The agency is also supposed to make available to the public transcripts, electronic recordings, or minutes of the meetings. Subsection 553 pertains to the rulemaking. Again, they need to have notice of the time, place, and nature of the meeting. This is really what's important right here. After notice required by this section, the agency shall give interested persons an opportunity to participate in the rulemaking through submission of written data, views, or arguments with or without opportunity for oral presentation. So what you have is the agencies providing public notice to the Federal Register, and now what they do is they do it online under regulations.gov. So in a few minutes, what we're going to look at is new regulations that the BSEE is enacting that affects the oil and gas production offshore and, for instance, in the Gulf of Mexico. Hi, this is Mark Sokolow. I'm an attorney in Texas. I've been an attorney for over 30 years. Presently, I'm teaching business law at San Jacinto College. Previously, I taught political science at Lamar University and at Lamar State College. I was a city attorney for over 20 years, and as a city attorney, especially in the city of Port Arthur, we regulated oil and gas permitting, pipelines, wells within the city limits. Now what we're looking at today is the regulations of the federal government that they're implementing on the outer continental shelf. That's, for instance, out in the deep Gulf. And these regulations do have a potential and a major impact, especially on Texans and on the states that front the Gulf, because of course we have a lot of our economy that is derived from servicing those wells, and of course Houston is like the oil and gas capital of the world. Now in this case, the Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement is proposing to amend and update certain rules and regulations involving oil and natural gas production. We're just going to go through a few of these. They talk about safety and pollution prevention equipment, designs, and what you can do, you can go to regulations.gov read these rules and comment on them. And your comments are due, in this case, on October 21st, 2013. And these new regulations were posted on August 22nd, 2013. In these regulations, they're in some respects just simply restructuring existing regulations, but they're also coming up with a few new ones. Their new regulations involve life cycle and failure reporting of equipment, foam firefighting system, valve closure timings, valve leakage rates, boarding shutdown valves, and similar situations. One of the major changes that they plan to do in the rules is the life cycle analysis of equipment and really the reporting to the manufacturers of the equipment and problems in the designs. We're only going to go through a few of these regulations. One of the regulations is the use of best available and safety technology, BAST, and what they're trying to do is get companies to utilize the best available and safest technology. The only issue that this comes up to is that when a company enters into a lease with the federal government or with BOEM for a tract out in the Gulf, they're using at that time their estimate of what equipment and production facilities they're going to use, and of course there's an economical analysis of it. Here they're saying no, you need to use the latest and the most available and safest technology. And the question is, if these new requirements are going to take place, what type of economics or what type of economic impact will this have on the company? One of my concerns is that the BSEE, and BOEM are basically raising their lease payments and also their permit fees, especially their permit fees. And if anything, these permit fees probably ought to be lowered to help pay for the cost of this latest technology. But of course, that's a public policy decision. One of the new sections will prohibit the installation of single-bore production risers from floating production facilities effective 1 year from publication of the final rule. Here they're trying to get more independent third-party review and certification of equipment. That may not necessarily be something that can easily be done by oil and gas companies. One is, who are the third-party independent companies that are going to review it? Two, what type of delay is that going to be involved in the use of the existing equipment? And what's the extra cost that's going to be for the oil and gas companies? Here they expect if there's deficiencies in equipment that the manufacturers be notified within 30 days. I would actually expect the oil and gas companies to immediately notify the manufacturers if something went wrong with their equipment, which I think is probably what exactly happens. Now this is a new regulation wherein that they're going to require that many of the designs for the mechanical, electrical systems, and other designs of piping and instrumentation be stamped by a registered professional engineer. This may pose a problem to the industry because there's simply not enough registered professional engineers in the petroleum engineering field. And probably what they need to take into consideration is that many of the engineers and professional engineers are simply just really experienced and they know their work. And so probably I think that they probably need to leave an option for just simply really experienced engineers to simply just sign their design so we know who actually wrote and approved the designs for the systems. Here they have more provisions for emergency shutdown systems, for firefighting systems, and chemical firefighting systems, for foam firefighting systems, for fire and gas detection systems. These may be absolutely excellent regulations and rules for safety. One of the issues that companies need to look at is really who presently out of the oil and gas companies are complying with these standards right now. And if none of the companies are complying with these new standards, how long will it take for them to comply with the standards? What will the cost be for the implementation of those standards? What will the ultimate impact of those costs be on consumers of oil and gas? And will these regulations really increase safety? Here they're asking companies to start applying a life cycle analysis approach to their critical equipment, which basically they look at the equipment when it was manufactured and how long do they expect it to really last, and do an evaluation thereof. Here they're looking at gas that's flared. In regulations, they look at the impact of the rules. In some respects, they're saying that this rule largely codifies standard industry practices and clarifies existing BSEE regulations and guidances. Here they're saying the BSEE welcomes comments on the analysis including potential sources of data or information on the costs and potential benefits of these proposed rules. They're saying that these proposed rules will cost approximately $16.87 or roughly $1,700,000 annually. I suspect that these rules will cost a lot more than that. But again, what this does show is that agencies, when they do enact rules, they do it in a public manner. They invite public comment, and you really need to, these are really very important rules for safety, and you need to review them and give your comments to the BSEE. You can easily make your comments on regulations.gov. Many of the oil and gas regulations are located at 30 CFR Part 250. That's Title 30 Code of Federal Regulations Part 250. Thank you.